politics of how some are received, to teach us what it takes to refuse a message about who is important, what it takes, who it takes. I found Carey's memoir because it was referenced in Patricia Hill Collins's classic text, Black Feminist Thought. Collins draws upon Carey's description to show how emergent black women went about surviving the everyday disrespect and outright assaults that accompany controlling images. Citation, too, can be hearing. We depend on what others can hear. Collins could hear what Carey's mother could hear, because of what Carey could hear her mother hear. Collins uses that hearing to show what black women know about controlling images in the strategies they develop to survive them. A complaint, how you show what you know. Later in the text, Collins evokes the figure of the complainer. With reference to the problem of colorblindness, how racism is often reproduced by not being seen, she observes, black women who make claims of discrimination and who demand that policies and procedures may not be as fair as they seem can more easily be dismissed as complainers who want special unearned favors. There is history to that dismissal. A history can be made up of many instances. In another instance, Amrit Wilson discusses a report written by Hamida Kazi in the feminist magazine Spare Rib in 1976. The story is about an Asian woman who is assaulted by her husband. Wilson offers a subtle account of how such stories are framed by the media and delivered to a wider public. She writes, "When such stories are reported, they are used to show how Asians are uncivilized and that they should be setting their community in order instead of complaining about racism." This is a rather light use of the word complaining. It might not seem worth singling out. Uses can be light when words are heavy. Complaining, complaint, complainer. We can be weighed down by the words as well as judgments. We learn from a single sentence that to speak about racism is to be heard not only as complaining, but as complaining about the wrong thing, to make racism a complaint as how some avoid addressing problems in their own community. Racism becomes that tiresome complaint, how some tire themselves out or tire others out, stopping themselves from doing what they should be doing, setting their community in order. The judgment of complaint can also be an order, to stop complaining as a demand to set things right. Wilson shows that a story used for racist purposes, evidence of Asians being uncivilized, can be the same story used to dismiss racism as complaint. Racism is often enacted by the dismissal of racism as complaint. Stories about violence against Asian women are instrumentalized to demand allegiance to a national project. Allegiance would be enacted by being willing to locate the problem of violence in your community rather than in the nation. The latter violence we often summarize as racism. You can become a complainer because of where you locate the problem. To become a complainer is to become the location of a problem. Wilson, by hearing how Asian women activists are answering back, to reference the title of her piece, teaches us how some are willing to become complainers to locate a problem, to become the location of a problem. A feminist ear. It was important to me to open this book with how complaints are not heard, or how we are not heard when we are heard as complaining. My aim in the book is to counter this history by giving complaint a hearing, by giving room to complaint, by listening to complaint. A history can become routine. A history can be how those who complain are dismissed, rendered incredible. I think of my method in this project as being about hearing, lending my ear or becoming a feminist ear. I first introduced the idea of a feminist ear in my book, Living a Feminist Life. I was describing a scene from the feminist film A Question of Silence, directed by Marlene Goris in 1982. In the scene, a secretary is seated at a table. She makes a suggestion. The men at the table say nothing. It is as if she has not said anything.